Welcome to my ultimate guide for Wartales. This is part 1 of the guide, which will focus on the start and the early game. I'm Hex, let's go. First things first, starting options. This is not crazy important, but what I usually go for is the first composition, which also gives extra influence that can be used to recruit an OP merc if it happens to spawn at the inn right at the start. As for the bonuses, some are better than others. Top 2 would be the fatigue bonus and the crit damage bonus. Debuff choice, pick the reduced carrying weight one. It's pretty minor. Next pick is difficulty and exploration options. It's up to you what difficulty you want to play on, but this guide will get you through hard with no problem. As for exploration option, I suggest using free, because that way you always fight enemies that are matched with your strength and size of the group. Believe me, fighting enemies 3-4 levels below you, getting low level items and lower XP, it's a waste of time. On that line of thoughts, I would suggest stick to smaller size groups, because as the game is matching your group size, the fights can be too long and too tedious sometimes. Your starting characters are not important. You can replace them later with ones with better traits, especially if you want to min-max. Starting characters' willpower stat is always 10 or under, and you can find new recruits with upwards of 15 willpower. Don't forget to select your starting skills. I usually take 3 characters with Rat and 1 with First Aid. If you want to be safer, you could go 2 First Aid. It's a good idea to pick First Aid skill on classes that are not engaging often, like the Spearman or your Archers. First time crafts on any item will give you progress towards your knowledge point bar. Right at the spawn you'll find some iron, and at the camp you can craft lockpick and fish hook. Crafting those will grant you a knowledge point. Use it to learn the run skill. It's arguably the most important skill you can get. I suggest getting endurance run right away as well for the extra 50% run duration. Use it all the time to run from guard, to just get places faster. It's very useful. At first, the only known crafting professions that you can choose is Tinkerer, so go ahead and apply it to everyone for 2% crit. Then just interact with everything you can to unlock other professions. Trying to steal something, interacting with the anvil in town, etc. will unlock new ones. At least in the beginning, try to repair and heal in town, and keep your repair materials and medicine just for emergencies. The early game is about making the money and equipping your mercs. Here are the priority locations for your first couple of days. First thing to do is go to the salt mine cave and mine the iron there. Fighting with just starting mercs with starting gear can be challenging. So the safer route will be to go back to town, recruit an extra merc, and craft a few items. I suggest getting heavy armors for your tanks and then weapons. Make sure you have a merc with an axe so you can get wood from various camp locations. With a 5-man team and a few crafted items, it's time to liberate the Pedra mountain mine. You will find 3 iron nodes there, which will help you a lot with finishing up your crafts. And whatever is left, you can turn into fish hooks through your camp, which sells for 7 crowns each. The iron in the mines will respawn every couple of days, so make sure you go and collect it often. There is a backpack accessory for your miner that can increase the yield of iron nodes, which is located on the mountain top above the salt mine cave. It's called Mount Altis Tower. Go ahead and pick up the easy missions that require you to fight outlaws. By the way, the innkeeper at town is selling apple pancake. Make sure you buy it every time you're in town. It gives 30% less fatigue bonus. Most of the locations in Tiltren, you encounter outlaws that can be sold at the prison, but keep in mind that the jail gets full after 3 prisoners sold and you have to wait a couple of days. So don't capture too many prisoners because you have to feed them. To be able to capture a unit, it has to be engaged and under 50% health. Go to the jail and buy 3 sets of handcuffs. Note that only the outlaws can be sold at the prison, so any other prisoners will be worthless for you. If you're doing a bit of questing and regularly bring prisoners to the jail and collect the iron from both mines, you should have no problem piling up a bunch of gold. Your next priority is to gear up your mercs. Use all dropped items to boost your crit. Other than that, the crafted items are very good. There are 2 tiers of crafted items, for example, iron and steel weapons. You need to craft the iron version to unlock the steel one. The level requirement for iron is level 2 and steel ones are level 5. We'll touch on second tier crafts later. Make sure to craft iron weapons for everyone for the time being. By the way, I will try not to spoil too many locations and activities, because finding cool loot after winning a hard fight or finding a secret location is a lot of fun in this game. Try to build your companions so they can reliably gain Valor points, which are used for their class skills. Being able to use them frequently will give you an edge in combat. Here are some suggestions on how to earn Valor points in combat. Archers, early game, might not one-shot kill stuff, so it's better to get Valor as support, which gives you Valor point if you end your turn next to an ally. For Spearmen, this is a must because it synergizes with their abilities. For your tanks and melee that engages all the time, take Valor as dual. If you like using weapons with AoE attacks, go with Valor as chain. This whole setup depends on which classes and weapons you like and who you feed kills to. Build the tent for your camp to be able to recover up to 6 Valor points per rest. From the compendium, you can spend knowledge to increase maximum Valor points. Another useful thing for your camp is the training dummy. It gives you flat combat XP bonus, and you can assign a merc to get extra XP every reset. It's great for newer recruits to catch up on the levels. You can purchase it after beating Smot's arena in Vertruse. At level 3, once everyone in your group is properly equipped, you can afford to carry more food, take longer trips, explore the map and interact with everything and loot everything. When your carry weights start to become a problem, you can always go back to the stables and buy more ponies. Keep checking the tavern for better recruits every time you're in town. Best trait to look for is Bloodthirsty, which gives you 3% crit chance. Other good ones would be the Cooperative and Solitary, which gives you 10% damage when you're standing next to an ally or away from an ally. Traits are not huge difference unless you want to min-max. Here is an example of a great recruit. This guy will be absolute beast later on. Completing the purple quests will advance you on the regional scenario. The last mission will grant you Border Pass that is used as payment to enter other regions. You could just pay 200 crowns and go earlier if you feel like exploring. If you haven't found your ideal mercs yet, what you can do is expand the search by taking some trade routes to other towns. You'll make enough crowns to pay for food and wages and then some. I usually do this one. You'll be able to check 3 taverns for recruits. Start from Stormcap, buy all the trade goods, make your way to Marheim, check the tavern and sell your trade goods. Then go further west to Brown Rock Town. Check tavern, and from here you can hit the flooded mine and the Brown Rock mine for extra crowns. Otherwise, just go back to Marheim, buy the trade goods and head back to Stormcap. By that time, recruits should refresh, rinse and repeat. At this time, most of your characters should be level 3 and 4, and you settled for the ones you like. It's time to spend a good chunk of your money on upgrading the class skills. There is a companion's trading ground in each region. Skill upgrades cost 300 crowns per skill, but they're super worth it. You can also buy basic skills here, but only buy the necessary ones because you can purchase them all later at half price from the black market trader. Skilled up and geared up, we can now take on the Phantom Swarm. It's important to kill your first swarm at level 4 because it will be easier to deal with them. You might have noticed big foggy area at night in the woods. That is the Phantom Swarm. When you kill it, you'll be able to loot white leather, which is required for crafting steel weapons and advanced armor layers. Make sure you spend your white leather on the steel weapons, because once you have them, it will be much easier to farm more. Remember that every time you get hit, fear stacks will be applied. At 5 stacks, your characters will run in fear. You don't lose the character, but they will not be available for the rest of the fight. The way to deal with this mechanic is to let characters with high stacks score a finishing blow. It will remove 3 fear stacks. On the second wave, a bigger phantom animal will spawn. Don't rush to kill it, because you need to kill all the animals to successfully finish the encounter. Just note that boss animal will cast a high fear stack skill on 2 of your mercs. The way to deal with that is to put the affected characters next to each other. Craft your steel weapons as soon as you hit level 5 and unlock the new class skills. Go ahead and upgrade them at the companion training ground. At this point, you should be forced to be reckoned with. For those of you who made it to the end, here's a tip. Use pythons. Use them everywhere to save yourself the unnecessary walk. Here are a couple of examples of how to use it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for part 2 of the guide. I will see you in the next one. Hex out.